Now I'd like to kick us off, I'd like to introduce Chloe Stoll-Lane of Gatsby Africa and Shirley Tarawali of ILRI. Chloe is currently leading Gatsby Africa's work in the livestock sector. She's been working with pastoralists for nearly 20 years and is excited by the opportunities to invest in competitive, inclusive, and resilient livestock sector in East Africa that can feed the region and beyond. Chloe is a social scientist and holds master's degrees in entrepreneurship and innovation and in international development and management. Shirley is the Assistant Director General of ILRI, as well as the chair of the Global Agenda for Sustainable Livestock, a multi-stakeholder platform on sustainable livestock systems. She has guided and developed the livestock engagement and advocacy efforts within ILRI. She has a PhD in plant science from the University of London. Previously, Shirley held a joint appointment with ILRI and the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture based in Ibadan, Nigeria, where her research interests were mainly in crop livestock and pastoralist systems. We'll start with Shirley. Shirley Tarawali, if you could introduce first, please.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Kristen, and welcome everybody on behalf of ILRI, but also on behalf of those who are convening this engagement today and the well over 100 who have joining us to seek how we might invest and support sustainable livestock for food systems transformation. I think that's what brings us all together. You've heard I'm Shirley Tarawali. I'm Assistant Director General at ILRI, and I'm Chair of the Global Agenda for Sustainable Livestock. I'm based in Kenya, but I'm actually speaking to you from Kathmandu today. And it's really great for us to be part of this perhaps almost unexpected alliance. ILRI initially started working with AgThrive to support work on investing in sustainable livestock. And we subsequently realized there was also very good alignment with the work that Gatsby is also undertaking in Kenya. Hence this coming together to better understand livestock investments in the country and how to increase those investments while promoting multiple sustainability dimensions. You might wonder how ILRI, as a CG research center that focuses on undertaking livestock research, even came to be part of this discussion on business investments in the first place. So to provide a little bit of context, I'm going to give you a brief background and tell you something about ILRI's journey that led us to this space of connecting investments and solutions. More than 10 years ago now, ILRI's previous strategy for the first time recognized the need to be intentional about assembling and communicating evidence regarding the roles of livestock to address multiple development ambitions. Sometimes livestock roles gets overlooked. Sometimes there is outright condemnation of the sector, often from a rather narrow, perhaps, viewpoint, and lacking the nuance that livestock is multiple things. It's many species, it's many commodities, it's produced in many ways, and plays many, many roles beyond just providing food, milk, meat, and eggs. And alongside that, across Africa, livestock commodities are among the fastest growing, demand rising as incomes, urbanization, and especially population all increase. Here in Kenya, 40% of agricultural GDP is coming from the livestock sector, and demand is expected to grow over 40% in just the next decade. Meeting that demand while not jeopardizing multiple benefits that livestock production, processing, trading provide for millions, while at the same time not harming the environment, the climate, or creating new health issues, is a multifaceted challenge that we have to grapple with, one that for sure will require investment. So back in 2015, as ILRI, with funds from the Gates Foundation, we began to look at this whole space of evidence, of communicating, investing, trying to bring some of that nuance to this arena. You might hear us refer to GLAD, the Global Livestock Advocacy for Sustainable Development project. But we've been through a bit of an evolution and learning. That's led us to be part of today's engagement and this particular webinar. Because when we started assembling and communicating evidence, we had somewhat ad hoc engagement to communicate that evidence. And we also learned that developing messages about livestock and its role in development was really difficult, because no matter what you said, somewhere in the world, it was probably wrong. So we progressed to be a bit more intentional about how engagement and communication was targeted, recognizing on the one hand that there were opportunities to engage with people who were part of the livestock community, but who perhaps needed more help, if you like, to communicate evidence to a wide range of stakeholders. And then we recognized that there were many voices in the development and investment arena, but livestock rarely featured. So our engagement with those stakeholders needed to look rather different. This helped structure and streamline our communication and engagement efforts, but was still very much a learning experience. We learned, for example, that evidence alone is insufficient. We need investable solutions. It's no good saying invest in sustainable livestock if you can't say how or for what. And that we need to be much more strategic and intentional about partnerships with a range of stakeholders, those who deliver investable solutions, who scale them, who work together to fund them. And some of that learning will be shared today. So that brings us to where we are today, recognizing that we need concerted actions to bring sustainable livestock solutions to global, regional, and national discussions and processes, not just those that are focused on livestock, but a much bigger space, to develop coalitions of partners to campaign and promote the power of sustainable livestock and animal source foods as part of positive and sustainable transformation of food systems, and to gather evidence and identify investable solutions, linking investors and donors, which is where we started this work with AgThrive and Gatsby, and will be the focus of today's webinar. In fact, in our new strategy, which will focus on livestock science delivering equitable and resilient livestock systems that contribute to food systems transformation with climate and environmental benefits. This includes new ways to address African livestock systems in a climate crisis. It includes intentional work to understand the business, social, economic climates that could lead to robust, multi-dimensional solutions, or if we don't get it right, to disaster. So we're here to find ways to work together so that livestock can support food systems transformation throughout Africa. And we're going to hear insights from the study that Kristen mentioned on the Kenya livestock investors landscape. Who is investing in what? What are their opportunities and concerns? How could these be mitigated? And how could livestock sector actors really benefit? So I wish us all a very successful and fruitful webinar, one that I'm sure is going to be a great learning experience for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shirley, for those important statements about the potential for livestock globally and also in the region. Gatsby Africa is really delighted to host this webinar in collaboration with ILRI as part of our work to support economic growth in the livestock sector that includes pastoralists. Gatsby Africa is a private foundation that works with businesses and government to support the growth of various industries. We work in a number of sectors that we see as having high potential, and this definitely includes livestock, including meat industries, beef in particular. We also work in other industries, textiles, aquaculture, commercial forestry, water, and tea. Our aim is to see how businesses innovate and grow and are a key enabler of these investments. We see a huge opportunity right now in Kenya with a strong demand for meat, and businesses are ready and willing to invest. However, from speaking to various private sector actors, whether they are off-takers, ranches, pastors, producers, it's clear that accessing and affording affordable finance is a big challenge to their growth. So we partnered with ILRI and GLAD to undertake this study to understand the investor landscape better in order to inform how we may work with investors and other donors to increase investments into livestock businesses. In today's webinar, we'll present an overview of the study. We'll provide advice on how businesses can access finance. And we really hope that you find the session useful. And we're really looking forward to your engagement through questions. And if you are a business working in Kenya, we look forward to connecting with you more after this webinar as well. So thanks so much for your time and joining. And I'll hand it back over to Krista.